Oh, we just need to burn a little bit of time. We can do that. Oh, we've got such a wide angle. We got such a wide.
Well, it's supposed to be people watching this.
Oh, we live now.
Yep.
Oh,
There'll be people watching this. We've got a new webcam because last week we were very aware that the screen was very poor.
how does it look? I can see
So we're
myself.
still fixing the settings,
Mm.
and the
And like, where do you look? Like choosing where to look. When you're like,
well, really
that
we should
front.
be looking there, but
Should we?
we're yeah. Well,
Does it help if we look into the
well, that's
camera?
actually the webcam. So normally we'd be looking at the camera. Anyway, the point is that this is all new, but it's so interesting because tonight is the start of the retrograde, Mercury retrograde, which is all computers. And
How long does it last?
I don't know the exact dates, but it's normally about 3 weeks. And it's obviously as per any other retrograde, it's all that time for inner reflection.
In the political spectrum, there's a lot of s- it, like crunchy stuff coming up for people if you're paying attention to that, if that's your thing. But I think like that must be happening in all sorts of ways in the outside and in the inner world.
Well, it's in Aries, and that's all about self. And obviously, that will depend on people's charts as to where it is affecting you personally. Uh, but Aries is represents self. It's independent. Um, it's the warrior. It's forward motion, forward moving. So retrogrades in Aries don't really feel very good because you now got everything moving back, and Aries is kind of wants to move.
Hmm.
Um,
I see squirrels in the house.
Hi, squirrel. I hope you're feeling better this week.
Hmm.
Although, saying that, if I'm assuming everyone can feel it. Like I said before, you may not all be connected to it, but we had an eclipse last night in Virgo, um, a lunar eclipse and a full moon. Lunar eclipses are more intense than the solar eclipse. Um, and we have Mercury, I mean, sorry, we have Mars still in Cancer, which Mars doesn't like being in Cancer. It's still moving forward after being in retrograde. We have Venus in retrograde in Aries. We have Mercury going retrograde today. We have Neptune and Saturn conjunct in Pisces. They are complete opposites. One is the watery, sort of in the mind kind of, and Saturn is the let's get going. So it's just like this push pull kind of feeling. Um, you have Neptune at the Sun and Saturn are conjunct at 22 degrees, but Neptune is at 29 degrees, which is the completion. I spoke about that last week. So and today I think Uranus is in the pack.
Well, Mum's funeral service was today, so
Yes. Okay, so a big day of
mm.
feelings. And the best advice I've been given is to just be with it all. Surrender and be with it all. Don't try and make it be any different than what it is. It's going to feel intense. Um, it's
Yeah.
it's an opportunity for something to be eclipsed out, or I heard an astrologer say beautifully in terms of if you think of a theatre production, the lunar eclipse is kind of the curtain coming down after an act. And then there's the 2 weeks of the eclipse window when the moon will go into its dark moon phase. So things will be purged out of our lives.
Sea light.
Um,
Sorry, go on.
sorry, and then when the solar eclipse happens at the new moon, it'll be a planting of a seed of something that we're going to move forward with over the next 6 months. It will unfold.
And it was a good time to plant that seed. But yeah, I'm sorry for your loss, and obviously these are sad days. But we believe that you've got a lot, looking to look forward to on the other side. So our loss here, but again, perhaps over there.
Mm.
And we do not know what our works in this world have given us on our way to the other side or background or whatever. We do not know, but I like to be optimistic or know that it's a place of love and we go back to. So no harm there. Four Jacks, really nice to see you in the house, mate. Thanks for all your support. Gaining wisdom. Hi. Thanks for your support very much. And Sea Lightning, 300 miles. Nice to see you in the house, bro, as well. Thanks for the webcam comment here. Gaining wisdom says Aries, Sun, Taurus, Moon, and Aquarius rising. Is that your
Sorry, say that again.
Aries, Sun, Taurus, Moon,
Okay.
Aquarius?
So the Uranus aspect was in Taurus today, and Aries, you've got two retrogrades.
Okay.
Mercury and
Okay.
It obviously depend on where that is and what life areas, but yeah, you'll be feeling it. We'll all be feeling it in some way. We're all feeling it. I think where some of us are just really good at not distracting ourselves or trying to fix it or change it. And of course, some people feel the cosmic energies more intensely than others.
I felt it today. I could feel it today.
Yeah, it's palpable, I think. And the astrologers say that actually March is the most pivotal and intense month in terms of the astrological calendar, well, for 2025 anyway. So yeah, it's
This is a wild ride. It's a wild place, and the stuff that's happening, if we keep into it, is so wild. And so often people hear the term like it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. And this idea that stuff is happening for you to grow, it just keeps coming around. And maybe there's much growth to be done. So I just wanted to say we got a few folk here from Canada. Samyaza and Sea Lightning 300. One Vancouver, the other one in Saskatchewan. Is it cold up there? Hi, Cameron. You feel like you're losing your mind with everything going on. Hi, JP. Lovely to see you, and thanks always for your support. And Hippie Shake. Really nice to see you in the house. Thank you for coming and doing all you do. I do think that with everything going on, it is one of the most important challenges, one of the most important responsibilities or duties we have to ourselves and to others, perhaps, is to be looking after our, because it is the world is so messed up. It is so mad. It is so crazy. Yes, so many people, millions and perhaps billions, are just plodding along and going along. We do in a marching fashion, but the world is going nuts, and the thing is that the more you are in the so-called red pill camp, the more you are seeing that nuts, and the more you're going, what the hell, I need to stop, and I need others to join me in making it stop. And no one around you is able to wake from the slumber and make the change.
Can I offer that it's not about making it stop? I think that when we're attached to it, then there is something more for us to explore. I think the world is a mirror, and as uncomfortable as that is, anything that is triggering us, it's showing us that there's something still there that we need to be with. And, and then from that place, we respond to the world, and whether that be that we just be in flow. This is not about positiving our way through it, not in the slightest. It's more importantly that we're with the anger, we're with the sadness, we're with the frustration, we're with the grief, we're in the rage, but in a responsible way, because it's that ability to be in the flow state, I believe, is what makes us different, but also allows us to respond to life, and not necessarily in a way of survival, actually in a way of living, of thriving. It doesn't mean it always feels comfortable. In fact, I think that's one of the biggest problems in this world, is we have become so used to comfortable that we'll take the easy route on whatever is going to feel the most comfortable, which is what happened in the last 4 years. Like, we wanted, there were many of us in the world who wanted it to stop, so we were prepared to do anything to make it stop, instead of being with the discomfort,
and change our DNA.
Yeah, so I think that this especially when you are learning to be with big energy, it feels like you wanted to stop. It feels incredibly uncomfortable.
I don't know about you, but when I used to go out in a place, in a town or whatever, it helped if I was there often. But if I went in and I was engaging in people, even in a different country or different city, I would generally be affable and wanting to like connect to my fellow man in the civic environment. I don't feel that so much anymore, I do. I'm not saying I don't have interactions with people, but it's almost like you're having to placate them. You're having to be where they're at. And the thing is that where they're at is so far from the kind of coalface of what's our reality. And it is like playing dumb to go along with with the madness here.
Or we can see it another way, that we're not invested in everybody waking up, or that we know their timeline, or that we know their journey, or any of that, but more that we can be compassionate for where they are and meet them where they are, and actually do that from a place of love. But perhaps also the most loving thing is a boundary, and it's like, that's not where I want to put my energy, or that's not where I can, or that simply that we are raising our own frequency, and it just doesn't feel like a comfortable place, or a place that we want to be. But we can do that in a loving way. There's this little statement, I can't remember it exactly, but something like, and when those are sleeping, can we kiss them and wish them well with love? And then obviously there's those that are sort of in that sleep wake, can we then with them perhaps hold out a hand and offer them a hand up? So I think that, to be compassionate, but not invested in. But yes, it's a strange, when you go into the supermarket or whatever, it just feels like there's two worlds, and you're in one and they're in another.
Yeah. I did today give a lady some information, but like entry level stuff. She was homeschooling her child, so she was open to some stuff, and had a distiller that she was thinking about selling because she hadn't used it for years. And so, but talking about helping people, this is where we can help. Is that the moon? Oh my gosh, that moon looks awesome. Can you see it? No.
I haven't got my glasses on.
Oh, the full moon is up, guys. Isn't it meant to be eclipsing somewhere today?
No, it did that during the night, last night.
I'm a little bit behind schedule then.
Yeah, I think certainly in the States, I think it was like just after midnight, like 12:44 or something. And then obviously it would have been a little bit later.
Different stuff. Well, it's -6 in Saskatchewan and means fast flowing river in First Nation. Name. The First Nations are the people who were already on the land. I was just seeing a comment today that made me think of this, but they were so poorly treated by the sort of so-called European, whatever that was, the empire. And that's true in South Africa as well, because that was pushed around and some of the basically estates Palestine from them. So, but the thing is that in order to get the manpower to take the land from those people, you needed first to enslave the European to become this materialist, like pecking order. I'll get more pay, and if I do this, this, and this for the boss, and I'll have a bigger house, and then they'll have smaller houses, but everyone will be reasonably comfortable, and then together we'll band up and we'll just go and maraud for our master. And there'll be spoils, of course, but we are pirates, no less, but we were pirated ourselves. That's where we're all at. But I wanted to come back around to Sam who had asked for any advice to stay grounded with all the madness. For me, as a bloke, obviously doing a little bit of physical activity, getting my feet on the ground, getting sun in my face, particularly early morning sun or late morning sun, walking in forests, but doing some physical stuff. And that applies both to men and women. And eating grounding foods,
Yeah, I think
whole
anything,
foods,
anything sort of earth elements, but also our breath.
nurturing.
I think our breath is, we know that if we stand still and kind of just presence the breath like really deeply, and bring ourselves back into the body, because we've got a lot of Pisces energy, and Neptune, there's a lot of that kind of out of body and experience. And actually the eclipses or the nodes are in Pisces, Virgo, and Virgo is earth and Pisces is water. So it's kind of that, and spirit and embodiment. So it's like that bringing together of us as spiritual beings, but in this human form, in this human body. So I think, yeah, anything earth wise. So if you can get your feet on the ground, or you can do some meditation, maybe where you're just spend some time focusing on the earth beneath you. On my Instagram, I have in my link, I have put a free meditation that's lean in to listen. Did I say can't hear that well?
Mine says you can't hear.
Well, this is also, yeah, we're working on that. We will get better. But on my Instagram, in my bio, in my links in my bio, there is a free audio meditation which is called Lean In to Listen. And really, it's just about slowing down and actually noticing through our breath, noticing all the gripping and tension in our body. So I think for me, that's how to be grounded, is just really noticing the body, noticing the feelings, noticing the tension, and then doing all those sort of body work, which is very Virgo.
Is that audio still underwater, or has that helped? Anyway, we'll soldier on.
Yeah, we're trying to upgrade our kit, and we've only just got our hands on it, so we're still playing with it a little bit.
As always, thanks to all those who've supported our journey thus far. I'd see Daniel Kruger's there as well, big supporter. Not I'm not wearing your t-shirt today, Daniel, but I was thinking obviously about sending the size for the children's t-shirt and yeah, and I want to obviously get your Macabre Life a little bit more airtime where I can. Anyway,
I
um,
also wanted to, I said I'd shout them out tonight. Sarah and Dean are, gosh, I
yeah.
can't think of what their band name is. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I haven't got my phone to check either. Anyway, they have been doing open mic, a bit of street singing as well, but open mic events. And tonight they're doing their first actual
Gig.
yeah, where
Gig.
they're actually being advertised and they're out there. So they are performing tonight for the first time, obviously going out there singing some Alex Michael stuff and others, and some of their own stuff even. And it's their first real gig. So a shout out to them. I hope it's going well. I know it'll go well. And they're getting out there singing and expressing themselves in the way that they can and spreading a little bit of love and truth. So
Awesome. Well, yeah, no, good for them, and break a leg, as they say. But it makes me think because Alex Michael came up, he is wanting to let a few people know that he's having a party or a gathering or a flat earth event or a gathering. That moon is amazing. Anyway, I hope you can see it wherever you are. Full moon here in England right now, 7:30 p.m. And I'm obviously looking
well,
east,
and it's just it'll just be starting to lose as we go over the next few
waning.
days, which is the purge. It's the opportunity to let something go.
Yeehaw! Let it ride out. But Alex Michael is doing this thing, so only by invitation. It's not going to be like a free for all, but it's 2 nights, 3 days. Um, near or at his house, but sort of set in Javier, which is a town on the Mediterranean. A lovely town, actually, a nice town. Set on the Mediterranean. So that's happening in September, middle of September. I know, Martin, you're going to be bouncing around. I see you are going at something in September, aren't you? Because yeah, so I think with Dawn Lester
And Andrew Kaufman,
and Andy Kaufman.
and I think Mark Devlin.
I thought about interviewing Andy Kaufman in 2020, but well, back then it would have been easy to get a hold of him. Um, Cameron says many people go shopping as late as possible, and Sue Monks do it just to avoid people. World is world is wild, but there's still opportunity. There's still glimmers of kind of it's not like it's not like I want to. It's not like I want to go into town and think of everybody as a whatever you want to think of. I don't want to think of people like that. That would be like I think it would be a little bit like
Connected.
yeah,
If we're all connected, then
yeah,
that's the wrong way to
yeah,
look at it, because
yeah.
yes, we're having
To them and us, yeah, and it's a bit of a them and
yeah.
us kind of paradox.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we have to just remain in that frequency of love, and that, love doesn't mean you're just all soft and sappy. It means that sometimes we have to have boundaries and,
Speaking of boundaries, we drove past a couple of those day prisons today. Well, they were known as schools. Yeah, and I've ascertained in the last couple of days using that actually the schools are an extension, or the education department is an extension of the military industrial complex. That's what I believe now. That it's all really, we're under one prison warder, and they attend to the education and the military and the gangs and all the other bits and pieces. Anyway, I thought I'd share that with you.
well, it makes me think of what I was
rethinking narcissism.
which is what I was thinking earlier. Obviously, I'm trying to put content out in terms of the work that I do, and I was just in thought about the word remembrance, and for me, it's like we've all forgotten. And although there are parts of us that have woken up, we still haven't got to that very deep essence of, I believe we came from love, and so therefore we are love, and we are worthy. Not we have to do something or be someone to have that, but because we have forgotten, or simply that we have now new belief systems or programs running, that's still there. So it's a returning back to that, but it requires a peeling back and a being with. But it's like it's a remembrance of who we are, because we've all forgotten.
We are the most magnificent beings. We come from that, and we are that. Not only forgotten, we've had it trodden on and torn from us over centuries, absolute centuries of this. And maybe the whole journey is like the discovery and the return to that right at the end of the book, right at the end of the story, and that's like the natural tumbling into a new kind of paradigm. I like to look at it from a positive point of view, even if the crazy, manipulative, strange.
I think there's something way more powerful at play. And for me personally, and that's where I think the cosmic energy comes in, the energy that's around at the moment. If you allow it and also will accept that it's happening for you.
Om Shanti. Sorry.
If you allow it, it doesn't always feel that way. Om Shanti.
Yeah.
Sometimes it feels brutal.
Yeah.
If you allow it,
Yeah.
then that's when that happens. There's a guy, his name is Eyes In on Instagram, Flat Earther. Well, he believes we don't live on a globe, but he talks beautifully on his own journey and the journey that we all are on. And he posted something very funny yesterday and said, when we can come to terms that we're to blame, in the most compassionate way, of course, but we're to blame. And that
I don't know.
no.
Let's say, slightly, if I may, have although I'm willing to accept that we're to blame, but that sounds like a Catholic kind of, you're the sinner.
The word blame is a very loaded word.
Yeah.
So let's be, you're responsible. Maybe
I think. Well, no. I mean, maybe it's our, it's our ship. It's our vessel to sail, and the choppy seas have been created by good or bad or nefarious or just man being greedy and doing all of those things. It could be any of those things.
The cage door is open. The cage door is open.
Turn that to the IRS.
The cage door is open.
Doge. My speech impediment comes in while I have to say doggy.
That has to have been one of the most fundamental. And I just have to presence this. It doesn't mean that there aren't people or things or entities or whatever you want to call them doing bad things. But I spent a very large part of my life wanting someone to pay for this, wanting someone to pay for it. One, that kept me in victim mode. And two, it meant that I don't then have responsibility or the possibility to expand it into something much greater if I'm waiting for something outside of me to save me or to take. So that's the word blame is very loaded. Blame is not the right word, but he was trying to be funny.
Yeah.
So it was a joke. But for me, it's like, actually, I do have responsibility.
Yes. Well, we do. Yes. Even though the trauma that was put on our family,
it's not my fault,
but
but now it's my responsibility.
all her fault. So now it's my responsibility.
It's a tougher one, right? Because we want someone to pay for it, and it doesn't mean that there aren't people on the outside doing bad things to you, but I do believe that. Firstly, I think it can be both. You know, someone can be being an ass, and yet the way that you are either taking it on or reacting to it is your responsibility.
Yeah. And you can obviously, this is the journey, isn't it? Is to find ways of mitigating the system. And I see here Angela Baby Carson has got a bit of a side thing going with pussy willow cuttings. I just picked up a whole bunch of pussy willow cuttings. I'm going to propagate you live. Probably made about 500. Wow. That's, I assume, dollars. Hope these sell too. Yeah, and Squirrel, I'm sure, is doing some interesting things with his bush. Although he does some great wood carvings using a chainsaw, so you could always hit Squirrel up for a little garden piece if you fancy it. I'm sure he'd love to turn something out for you. Nice to see you in Memorial Gardens, Nathan. There's a few Nathans. It's funny, isn't it? These names just keep popping up.
It's obviously a generational name.
Create trees. Yeah, there's money. Absolutely. From seeds. Hey, I mean, you know, that's why there should be, I believe, you should look out in the countryside and see fruit trees abounding, unless the climate doesn't support it. You know, and that way there would be a food forest for people to feed from for some of the time.
Not only that, when you drive around, especially in winter, and you look at trees, they look like the
alveoli of the lungs,
of the lungs. And so when I look at them, I'm like, wow, you are actually doing something for this earth.
You see the bare bones of it in the winter.
Yes, exactly.
Structure. The skeletal undercarriage of our Earth's lungs. And it's interesting because in the wintertime, it's winter here in the center or in the north or whatever, and it's summer. And so there's like this natural like cooling and heating and moving and backwards and forwards of the cycle, the yin and the yang. I see Nora's here as well. Dave shaved his beard in a good shape. That's funny, Nora.
What?
Lovely. He said, I shaved my beard in a good shape. I actually just trimmed it a while ago, like a week or two ago. My hair's another. I walked past a wig shop today and did think, I wonder if they think I'm wearing a wig because my hair is going through a funny phase. I've still been losing hair.
Yeah, Dave's still struggling with
alopecia. Out and all that too hard.
Yeah.
So much love to you both. Yeah. You're a damn good cook, Rethink Inc. And yeah, cool. Say seeds to yeah, you need cuttings, okay, and root stimulant. Okay, cool. Well, that's good to know. We'll be on the land in the fullness of time. But at the moment we're in the cold. But we got a fire, so we're grateful for that. And we've got food. So we're good. We're settled in one place until Easter.
Yeah, and we're just for the next 2 weeks gonna, you know, try and be as present and actually just allow what needs to be eclipsed out in our lives for that to happen. Obviously we'll be here again next Friday to
yeah, you can give this the thumbs up if you want. Whoops, I lost the chat. Are you ever coming to what? I can't see that for some reason. I'll go that. Canada.
It isn't on our list of.
You know, the truth is, my mother said to me 20, 30 years ago, go to Canada. I mean, I dipped my toe into Canada in 1988, but I can't really claim to have visited there. I crossed the border for an hour or three near Detroit, but I haven't been since then. And my mother had some of the best few years of her childhood in Canada, around 10, 12-ish years old she was. And she loved it there. Absolutely loved it. And so she was always like,
And in fact, her last trip ended in her trip to Canada and then the Alaskas on a cruise. That was her final year. So yeah, but
2011.
it's not somewhere where, and we'll never say never,
Yeah.
but
But
it doesn't seem like
and you know what I like about Canada? It feels like there is
space.
space. I've got a friend, school friend, junior school friend, who's in Canada. I've kind of lost touch with him since I gave up that Facebook account I had. But I fancy Canada in that way, like where there's space and the language I can get on with and so on. But
Yeah,
Canada is gonna, I don't know. I shouldn't talk in terms of the politics because naturally it's so amazing. And I know the winters are cold, but a friend who lived there said even at -30, it doesn't feel as cold as English cold at 5 degrees.
well, yeah, the damp cold.
Pleasant, but like even traveling to North, this may be my own kind of paranoia based on the way that the world seems to me. But even traveling to America, like, doesn't hold the same appeal that it did once before. And partly it's like going through immigration, like they make you, it's a whole such a unpleasant experience. Even in '88, actually, I always used to, back then I didn't know squat, and I was so like proud that wow, the Americans, they searched my bags, suitcases twice on their way in through Boston airport. That was back then. Was the Israelis were even tougher, but that was mid 90s, right? And we found that when we visited Israel, we said that before. They were so harsh, even on the way out, like they spent more than an hour. It took us hours to get through, but more than an hour going through our stuff, asking us for we've got everything. Where did you get this postcard? Where did you get this rock salt? Like I thought it was a bit of a joke. I didn't realize why they would have to be so paranoid. And now I understand. And they are sure. Does it feel to you guys like it's poised for them to be just the feeling I have, I'm not really watching news at the moment. I'm not really like paying too much attention to that. Obviously, there is this huge like um pointing towards Donald Trump as this unbelievable leader. He's come off Dragon's Den. No. Who wants to be no, not who wants to be a millionaire, the other one. You're fired. That's it. Yeah. And people are expecting that character, in a way, to be this like boardroom bastard, and he's going to get it all done, blah, 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 blah. It just feels to me like we're in 1933 and it's all running towards creating these boogeymen and blah, blah, blah. And I'm not at all like fearful of that. Honestly, I'm not at all fearful of that. And because I don't think that nukes are real. I do think that economic terrorism is real. I do think that biological terrorism is real. I do think that um, uh, pharmacological and the farming industry. All of these things are elements of controlling us, but I don't think that I've lost my thread now. When you pick me up,
Just where we're heading, and we can project what that is, and it certainly we have certain ideas, or where we think
Oh yeah,
that
yeah,
might
yeah,
be,
yeah,
but
yeah. But we don't have to. Yeah, we don't have to fear it. I mean, say this so many times. Like, if the flood comes tomorrow, then where are you now? How have we, or were we panicking at the wheel? We had two policemen, not tail us.
no, they were just
Motorbike,
driving behind us.
motorbike. That's
Paranoia that
happened
things
upon
may
us.
take us.
And they're sitting on our tail for a mile or two, and not too far, but then we end up getting to a junction. Junctions are very slow junctions. We're sitting there for well over a minute, feels like 15. And
We have
because
got some.
we've got form, and I
Yes.
have to check in my mind, okay, 6 months on the tax, and it's so many months, MOT or left or whatever, and insurance, is that right? And blah, 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 because what happened to us last time?
Yes,
We don't want that happening.
absolutely. But for me personally, again, this is the world is a mirror. It's just a perfect example. I know, and in fact, it's where my Virgo is. I have um, a um, a wound or a programming, or it could be even deeper, but it doesn't really matter, around authority and what authority means for me. And it means punishment. And that goes back to certainly my mother. So I'm not even placing that necessarily on anything other than in my own little world. And I truly believe that it goes deeper than that. That there is all that generational or lineage or past life or whatever you want to call it that we carry around, all of that as well.
I accidentally turned this off. I don't know whether that.
No, it's on.
I know I turned it back on again, so I don't know whether you lost the audio.
Anyway, for me, that experience that we had, where they, and I felt terror in my body, and for me, what I've learned is that my mind can make that mean a whole lot of things, but can I be with that terror? Because I think that terror is old. It's probably stored in my kidneys, or my bladder, and it's it's for me to lean in and allow it to just move, rather than, because what our mind does is it doesn't know that it's actually living in the past, and the way it's distinguishing the present is based on the past. And that's what the mind does. It distinguishes based on experiences had from the past. And you can talk about a more neutral one, but this coffee cup, I've learned that this coffee cup is something that I put a hot drink in, and I hold it and I put it to my mouth. Now, I know that from the experience that I have, because there might be someone who never has the experience of a coffee cup. They won't know what to do with it. And that goes for every experience. It's like we've got these experiences and this entanglement of emotions that were not able to be safely expressed, that are in our bodies, which is where I think disease stems from. And so that experience, with authority, and of course we've had a few of those, but I even believe those came to us as experiences to see, like, wow, I carry this real fear. There's actually a guy, I think his name's Greg, I think I mentioned him before, from Sovereign Way, who talks about all the common law stuff, and that he believes the most important part of it is actually how the system makes us feel. Because until we deal with that, you can move paperwork around as much as you like, then you're just still in the fight, you're still in survival. It's about being with the emotion that's attached to that. And I think it's so old. Like I said, possibly lifetimes, possibly generations. And that's the work. That's the responsible part. When I say we're responsible, that's what I mean. It's like I can own that. And that's where I truly believe I'm finding freedom, because it's from that place that I don't have to be attached to the present, but through the past. I have my lens to the present isn't based on something I've experienced in the past.
Mm. Well, our lens is so vital to how we perceive the two cops on my tail and the authorities that have usurped their control, and so on. And wow, there's so many crazy agendas out there and stories and realities that are unfolding. And I can't, whenever I think about this, I have to say I want to be part of the solution.
You
But
are
that
the
doesn't
solution.
mean rolling over and playing nice for the system, but playing smart, I guess, much as
Well, it's
one
being
can.
in the world, not of it.
Mm.
It's deciding how you want to be in it.
Mm.
But if you're still in it, from a place of reactivity or emotional entanglement, then I would say that that's where the work is. It's the invitation, it's the beckoning, it's the part where you get to heal so you can remember who you truly are.
We are so magnificent. It is hard to even.
I don't think we can fathom it.
Yeah.
I think there's so many layers.
Yeah, if we knew, we would bust up laughing and go, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Stressing, worrying, fretting about this bullshit. What I need to do is do no harm, but find my way to power through this freaking existence of mine. This is my slice of the pie. This is my universe, and I need to be given, a free run or a good run.
Not given.
Take.
You see, this is where we're still, and I'm not picking a day because it's just so deep.
I need tea.
It's so deep that we think we need to be given something. No, we already have it. We already have it. It's us remembering and reconnecting to that. And I saw someone say, this is actually we're in this place we're in is neutral. And actually, it's our opportunity to learn how to be in it and to become the magnificent. I believe magnificent means magnet. How to be able to be creators, and from a place of expansion and love and all of those things. Again, I'm not saying that things don't happen in this experience that are difficult, but equally there are some incredibly expansive. In fact, an astrologer said this time that we're in right now with the cosmology, it's about dissolving our limitation. So can we be with, like the experience we had in the car with the authorities behind us, can we be with that and see how limiting that is? How based on that we will navigate our life in limitation rather than that we are worthy of this all working out. So no, we don't get that. No one gives us anything.
Yeah.
We already have it. We're just not able to meet it because either we don't believe that we're worthy of it, or we have no idea how incredible we are.
So you are Andy Dufresne, and you have been set up for a crime you never committed. You are in Shawshank prison, and you can rile the warden up. Quite a big deal, and he will put you in solitary confinement for a while, but he wants you back in the game. He wants your energy. So find ways of harnessing that energy for yourself and not for the warden. A couple of things there. Gaining Wisdom said his mum is from Oxford. She went to Oxford to give birth to me, and they considered her to be incompetent and under a spell of illness for seeking their services to perform this very natural act. Angela Baby Carson wants everyone to have one. I don't think she meant a baby there. She was talking about an outdoor bath tub. We had the most amazing bath
in Cape Town in the forest when we were living off grid.
Thanks to Michael Fall and
Well, Angie and
Angie and
Rod,
Rod.
they had it was a beautiful setting. They had built a retreat up with wooden cabins and a communal area, but they had an outside bath sort of
Wow.
in the forest area.
Because you had the river there, and they had like a fire, like a little fire hut, you know,
Donkey.
donkey, a kiln, whatever, was like just roaring while I was taking care of the fire while I was there. And there was always hot water, enough as much as you want, pretty much. You could fill up this massive bath, one of the biggest baths I've ever been in, but outdoors, under the trees,
Sometimes the moon.
and the moon.
Well, always the moon, but sometimes we saw it.
Hmm. Yeah, so everyone deserves an outdoor bath. That was really special.
Well, you know what I reckon that our desires are things that we can have. It's only us that kind of keep them just as dreams, or fantasies.
Speaking of fantasies, Angela Baby Carson says, why isn't there a sign next to chat here for donating money? I don't know about that. I don't know whether you have to have a certain number of subscribers or something to be able to get people to donate in chat. That's
You're not you
I think
you don't have super chat, do you?
yeah, I think you have to have a certain number of subscribers, and also you have to be like I think when you've had quite a lot of strikes as well, I don't know if they offer you that kind of thing.
It's not something that you
But
spend a lot of time looking at
no,
either.
but we
So
have been so kindly and generously supported by
yeah, I mean there's
subscribers over the years
it
through PayPal and
yeah,
Coffee, Buy Me
in
Coffee.
Dave's YouTube profile, there is a link tree that's got his Buy Me a Coffee and PayPal. So if you feel like you want to, then the links are there. Um, Obviously, there is also the opportunity to work with us if that feels like something that resonates. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because I think that it can be a pretty as we were saying earlier, but can be a challenging experience for me and for I expect for others, to be walking through a world in which we are not necessarily sitting in the same vibratory space as our fellow brothers and sisters. Some people would say NPCs, whatever. I really don't think that we want to be castigating anyone for the position or the place that they're in, and even that this is like some better place than someone else.
Superiority. I
You
think
know,
when we talk about that, we're kind of putting ourselves in a place of superiority, and I would say that's probably a trauma response.
Yeah, because I think humility is one of the most important areas of growth for me, for all of us, for many of us. That's
I mean, discernment's obviously a really important element of knowing thyself. And, with discernment, you'll know that if someone doesn't feel good, then you don't want to be in their energy, and to be able to make that choice to not, or yeah. So for me, the NPC thing, I'm not saying there aren't bad energies around, but I think when we really know ourselves or are embodied or trust ourselves, then we'll know when, where, and what, and who, and how.
Red herring media is making sense now. He was talking about periodic element letters, meaning in the previous post, in reference to gold, I think he was talking about. And so obviously we know gold is AU on the periodic table, and AU is authority, or Thor being Thorax, Taurus, or Thor I.
Yeah, because I think we are our own authority. I mean, that's sovereignty, isn't it? Sovereignty is actually that I am my own master. And
yeah, interesting today though, because like let's say we worked out the secrets of the world or understood what we understood, had a better understanding of how the world was and what we were doing with it in it and so on, that we would pass to our children a handbook and say, look, this is the information you need about who you are and stuff. So the lessons aren't lost. And so I was thinking about the word Torah today because the Torah is quite huge in world sort of religion and so on. And Torah is a Taurus word, and I do wonder whether there aren't gifts of, I believe there are gifts of truth in these Torahs and other works. So I'm not suggesting you go out and read it, but yes, we are the master of it, this world.
I know I probably sound like a broken record, but there are gifts in your natal chart. And when you're able to understand, well, when you're able to connect to it, it will uh, it will enlighten you in ways you don't even realize if you haven't done your natal chart.
Yeah. Cost of living crisis. The red herring you guys said about. We were looking. We bought some coffee online because we could get a whole lot cheaper, like a lot cheaper than the one we bought in the supermarket. We used to pay £6.60 for a 2-pack.
Just to be clear, and those people who know us, we like good coffee, so we have a little coffee pot.
So when people buy us a coffee, they're actually literally buying us.
Yeah, so we buy ground coffee, so it's not just old coffee.
No,
but we have one that we like, and
it's not too pricey as these things go, and it was like £6.60 or
and way
£3.30.
cheaper than buying a coffee out at any coffee shop. And we actually prefer it. We do like the cream, but so we're a bit of we're coffee snobs.
Distilled water, of course, which you won't get at the coffee shop.
Anyway, we found a source that we could order from in Europe that would mean that because this particular coffee is a European coffee and it's just so much cheaper. But
yeah, like works out about £1.80 a bag.
When we couldn't get it, when we hadn't found this one, we were getting it from the supermarket when it was on special offer, but it was still way over what we would pay when we were over in Europe. And I was in the supermarket yesterday, and I think the last time we bought, it's a 2-pack. The last time we bought it was £7, and that was
gone up, yeah.
That was a lot.
That was already on sale
and that was already a lot, which is why we were like, right, we can't be spending that. We will have to find a different way. And luckily Dave did, and obviously the cheaper it is. Anyway, I was in the supermarket yesterday and I just happened to walk past this coffee, and it was £9.50.
£9.50 instead of what?
And that's in the space of 3 months, maybe.
Yeah.
3 months. It's gone from £7 to £9.50. I mean, a coffee, I understand, is can be a luxury in some people's.
I think Alex Michael is sending me tips as we go here.
How to
go to YouTube Studio and turn your supers on. It's as easy as that.
It's as easy as that. See, it's been all this time, and you haven't. We are a little bit technically backward.
Yeah,
We're trying to get better.
Given how vital the support has been, you'd think that it would be the first thing in my mind. But you know what? I do have, most of the time, I can't claim always to be this way, but I have this faith that there is a big plan. There is a plan that's being rolled out, And as I would have said, if you listened to me in 2018, I don't have these ideas of grandeur of carrying the baton into the stadium. I'm happy to just be someone that helps the baton along the way, so that someday, at some place, someone takes the baton into the stadium and can begin the change. But funny enough, I was talking to our friend Nathan, the pilot. He's in Vietnam at the moment. But I was talking to him yesterday, and he was saying we were talking about Donald Trump being like the wooden horse, the Trojan horse. And I said, yes, well, if it's true that he is the Trojan horse, which I have no reason to think that he's not, that actually Elon Musk is like the Neo within the Trojan horse that is going to be the kind of the character that is the one to bring that system down with a view to something else being put in its place. And that's what I felt. I don't want to ramble on this point, but I felt like that's maybe what's going to happen. And when we put down on the renegade, who was an outsider and he wasn't a politician and all that sort of thing, but that he's going to be like the silver bullet that brings about the change. And yeah, I mean, I would say like if you can get away from this mad world, in the physical sense, then do that. If you can't, then make sure to be doing it inside.
I
And
don't
even
think
if you have,
I don't think there's I think that if anything, this is telling you to like go within. Go within and don't be waiting for the savior. I mean, it's this sugar and salty. It's like, oh, we'll give you a bit of sugar. Oh, now we give you a bit of salty. Oh, it was Biden. Oh, now this is like this. And actually, if we're waiting for someone to do something different, then you're going to be waiting the whole time. It's time to take your power back, and don't wait for someone to give it to you, because they're not going to. Um, and
no, they're not. No, they're not. There's no government. And they will keep like teasing you down the road. Like, oh, here's another little something for you, and we'll give you some extra slice of bread with your lunch from now on in the prison.
I think we have to remember that we are creators, and we can either create with the outside world, or we can create from a different place. And we're doing that whether we do that consciously or unconsciously.
I see Holistic is giving Angela Baby Carson a bit of a push there. Please feel encouraged to go and subscribe to Angela Baby. And oh dear, I hope not David. No, that's another. He sub me. Okay, cool. Well, I mean, sub each other. We do need friends actually, and we need community. And I feel like we were talking about this, how it's interesting, the rift or the difficulty in flat Earth with the community, with various names deciding to whatever. I don't need to go into the detail on that. My goodness, it's hard to get your head around how anyone can go from where we are to back onto believing in a spinning ball of rock in a vacuum, traveling at horrendously mind-bending speeds through a vacuum, which doesn't remove the atmosphere, in which the atmosphere itself magically spins along at 1,000+ miles per hour. Whilst we were looking at the scene, and I said to the boys in the car today, look at that. We were looking down into a valley near Chester, and the smoke is rising from these stacks all, steadily up, with a little bit of draft blowing one way and maybe another one another way. So sweet and salty. Yeah, so we need each other, and I think that I'm hoping to do a gathering of friends in next month, April the 17th, in
Yes.
Norfolk. So I will get more details on a flyer, but it's the 17th. It's Thursday, Bank Holiday Thursday, or
No,
Bank Holiday Friday.
thanks for
Our slave masters will give us an extra night of frivolity.
Well, it's a long weekend, actually. It's Easter
It's
weekend.
Easter weekend.
Mm.
Do you celebrate Easter, Ishtar, or whatever? I yeah, it's for me, it's a mixed thing because I think, around the 20, but now we're coming up to equinox
Mhm.
and we're heading into, spring for us and fall for those clinging to the underside of the ball. Um, and that's a special time. So what do I think about the Jesus story? I don't think I need to talk about that right now, but I don't obviously. I don't know. I mean, some people say it's all, there's a whole lot of dark stuff attached to it, but like, gosh, we might get an Easter egg for Zizi. I don't know if it's that.
Well, it's only because it's a novelty for him, right? It's a novelty. He doesn't have any connection to any
Yeah,
meaning,
yeah,
really.
yeah. Think
Um,
otherwise we can end up being a little bit bar humbug about
I
the whole
mean,
thing.
yeah, it's just about a little bit of fun for him.
Mm.
But for us, it's
My mother gave me fluoride tablets for many years of my
Mhm.
childhood, and I seem to have come through it okay. So I think we can handle a little bit of rough with this.
Well, we have plenty of conversations with our children about stuff that is, our connection to God. So that's okay.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Hippie Shake helps so much. Yes, she is lovely, and I hope things are going well for you, Hippie. We're actually not far from Wales. I've got a feeling. Why do I think you're in Wales?
She is. She just said that she couldn't see the moon yet from North
Ah,
Wales.
ah,
She's certainly in Wales.
all right, on the far side. We're obviously on the eastern side of Wales. Hey, Boston Ray, Mudflood. I saw that you achieved a milestone, getting to 2,000 or 3,000 subscribers. Well done. It's well deserved and probably long overdue. There's Kathy Broughton, who I think from last week is in Tennessee. Who doesn't like a chalky egg? Well, yeah, I'm trying to stay off the sugar at the moment. Actually, to be told,
It's a struggle.
it's yeah, it's a little bit of a struggle actually, to be told. I have a bit of a sweet tooth, and especially if I get the munchies late at night. That's the witching hour really for me when it comes to that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I've had a little bit of like a skin rash that I thought the only way I can deal with this is to clean up my act, and it has helped. To be honest. So yeah, but definitely for the little boy, it's like like with the lovely couple we spent a few days with in South Africa before we parted ways back in 2021. They'd kind of gone, no sugar for our child whatsoever, and even the child at 4 years old was saying sugar is evil. I think he was saying something like that. So it's like, do you want to be an extremist in that way? Do you want to be? I took a photo. We were at a secondhand store the other day, or a chair, not like a antiques, and they had a poster up for some old, what was it, bread or something, and it was called Puritans. Oh, soap. I could show it to you if I was handy with my phone. But soap, Puritan soap. Um, we don't want to be Puritans about this.
No, but I think often what happens when we realize, and that certainly happened for us, when we realized that, the food system was toxic and, our world was toxic, and you kind of swung into like, look, we're just going to cut it all out, but that's incredibly rigid. And we are here to have an experience. So I think, it's about, and we actually were saying that about Zizi, we want him to have a different
Mm.
life, but we also want him to be able to experience things. We don't want him um to not have, there's a Minecraft movie coming up. Zizi loves Minecraft. There's a Minecraft movie coming up, and
Jack Black.
we're going to take him to the cinema, and so that he can have an experience at the cinema. So, I think, um, yeah, it's just about finding that sweet
Mm.
spot, sweet spot.
Sweet spot.
Um,
Yeah.
what's the living?
Oh, Kathy from Kentucky is following a keto lifestyle. And yeah, we're kind of there, we did it back in 2016, Was it
We
2016?
did it back in 2016, and actually that was when I felt pregnant
It's
with
easy,
Zizi.
yeah.
Mm.
Cleaned up ourselves a whole lot. So we're trying to do keto. I mean, obviously, like I actually really enjoy meat. So it's not like that's not a problem for me, but it does feel like it costs more to, eat that way. That it's much cheaper to feed the cattle with
Oh,
grain,
yeah,
grains
it
and stuff like
totally
that.
is. But I mean, as a
So,
little story, my daughter, she yesterday started keto, and her first couple of days, the
yeah,
the
the
withdrawals have
parasites are
been,
getting
the
raging, and
parasites and her body's need for what that carbohydrate, in other words, sugar experience gives her body. And yeah, it's been a really difficult one, because our the more you have the carb, the more your body craves it. Um, all the parasites, but our body is using glucose as our energy source instead of fat. And again, I'm not yet advocating that keto is for everyone. That's not it. I
mm,
personally and Dave are using as a protocol, and then hope to find, whatever conscious eating suits our body moving forward.
right. Okay. Well, I just wanted to give Boston Ray a shout out, saying he's going to be doing some live music at bars, which is fantastic. Just like Dean and Sarah and our friend Alex Michael, who I think still does the odd gig, but he'll be doing like a whole weekend bonanza of Alex Michael unplugged, Alex Michael plugged, whatever, it's going to be, I think, a real opportunity to kind of, rub shoulders with fellow beings who are
What do they call
not
it? OGs.
spinning ballers, and have fun with the legend of the flat Earth movement, Alex Michael. So, and a few others actually. Uh, Later addition to the flat Earth community, but Stephen Mike Seven will be there. And a few others, but anyway, so that's in September. Send me a message if you wanna be invited, because I can't just we can't when it's
It's
not just
not
going
going
to
to
be
be
like an open
open.
ticket. People can just book
Yeah.
from. It has to be through someone we already know. Alex is kindly opening up his house for that, and I think that he wouldn't want some of the really strange anti flat Earth types who are a
It's
subculture.
going to be a more intimate event anyway.
Mm,
So, it requires an invitation.
yeah, yeah. Well, good for you on whatever your diet choices, but yeah, whatever works. Boston Ray, yeah, no, we don't have Run Boston Bear at the moment. He is so busy, I think, with his new baby child. Uh,
Baby and probably
yeah.
marathon training and other three
Mm.
children to look after.
Um, so India has asked where the live event will be in Easter. Well, At this point in time, where does Simon kind of live? Durham. At this point in time, it's kind of going to be in that region, which I know is a little bit far, bit of a drive. It has to be at least 40 minutes for you, India. And it would be a Thursday night. I mean, at this point in time, I'd say it'd be awesome if he gets together with a bunch of guys and gals on a Thursday night at a pub. They just drink. Some of them maybe drink booze, but Simon just drinks a coffee. I've been there a few times, had a coffee or whatever, um, and uh, and just chinwag about stuff, which is awesome. And of course, if you're in the Norfolk area, then the opportunity to make friends with a few others.
Even Suffolk.
Or Suffolk, yeah. Um, and Simon had said, did he want for us to organize like a hall so that maybe I could do a talk for 20 minutes or 40 minutes or whatever. I wasn't sure about that. And I didn't know that we could necessarily drum up the sort of numbers that would warrant such.
No, but if we have a space in a pub, then that might still be a possibility. We'll just see how it.
So we're looking at Durham at the moment, and obviously it's about a month from now. All right. But it would be awesome to see you again, India, and it would be great to see you walking. Although I think you walked a little bit when you were there, maybe. Um, my guitar will blow your balls off. Are you having some kind of music off with Alex Michael or something? I don't know what's. This is obviously a musical thing. They're always waiting for the big climax with their guitar. You heard that Andrew Calvin coming. I assume you're talking about something else. Andrew Calvin coming to your party. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, well, he might.
I don't know.
He might be.
Why? It's only Alex Michael.
Well, he's actually he's in the UK, so he might very well be coming.
Right.
So don't be.
No, I won't be right on all.
Yeah.
He's at
He's at an event.
September.
The 13th and the 14th. Yeah.
Things to do in Spain.
Yeah, but well, if he is, that's incredible. That we really awesome.
It's lovely to see Ryan, a supporter of this channel, of unindoctrinated. Yeah. Do you still eat fish? Zizi said something funny. He said, we said something about something, and he said, can you put that in context? I thought
it was we did a puzzle.
Yeah.
We did a puzzle together, a 1,000-piece puzzle. It's the first one he's done, a really cool one. And
it's right over here. I think I can probably show you that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, so we did that together, all four of us, and I was taking photos of it to use as content for my channel. And I said, oh yeah, it's a really cool puzzle, and I've used it, as photos for my channel. And he went, can you put that in context?
Hello. Oh, very nice to see you. Now he's going to rap his ass off. This is very interesting stuff that you guys get up to over there, Boston Ray. Hey, is this this sort of thing that you muso types get up to in the green room?
I'm sure Alex Michael can tell everyone how much you're a wannabe.
I am actually
no musician, but certainly, right, Alex, when he's doing a bit of karaoke.
The backing vocals or something.
Backing vocals.
Fronting vocals.
You want to be the lead. He actually's got a really good voice. Believe it or not, Dave did Amdram. Back in the early 2000s, he was part of. Well, no, actually, as a youngster at school, he performed in Yeah, so when he goes and does those performances in Oxford, he has got a little bit of experience under his belt.
Yes.
Yeah. But
that's
when
right.
when we have done karaoke with Alex Marker and there is
yeah.
actually video proof, he does belt out.
Yeah. But I'm not claiming that I'm going to blow anyone's balls off or whatever, ass off, or whatever it was you were. Rap their ass off. I'm not going to be rapping no ass in that way. So yeah, love to you, Ryan, as well. And Spliffin Billy, which is good. Oh, I'm pushing the wrong screen. Spliffin now with Squirrel Sniper. Well, I've done that. For real. Um, ah, hmm. Gaining wisdom had to reclaim his child from the school system. Please tell me. I'm sorry that I don't know. Is her. Informed the officer of the court that I was responsible for everything that goes into my child's ears, eyes, and mouth, regardless of the threats. Yes, ears, eyes, mouth. True, true, and skin. In fact, I spoke to this lady today who had, for that reason, pulled her child from the military-industrial complex junior version. If you weren't here at the beginning of this call, I was saying I think that the schooling system or the education system is the military industrial complex just for the kindergarten. But she had decided to pull her child from school because she wasn't sure that even though she'd said no thanks. And that reminds me of my friend Dudu, who'd said to the school no, and they went ahead and needled his 14-year-old, 13-year-old, in South Africa. And so they're at it in all quadrants, and we're going to gaining wisdom. Someone has said earlier on about the price of living, cost of living, and so on. We have to be realistic and say the squeeze is going to looks very like squeezed in the next few years. That's got to be like we got to go. Okay, well, I knew this was coming. I'm not surprised by it. I've got to make certain adjustments. I've got to do clever things like Angela, grow some shrubs, do something to be standalone.
I have a little bit of, and I want this to come from the right place, but I think that might be happening on the outside world. But I do also believe that if we are to return to who we truly are, and we are creators, then we can find solutions or create a life that we desire. But that requires doing the healing and the deeper work, because we are creators and we are these expansive beings. But when when we've been in that frequency of shutdown or limitation, then to hold that frequency, which I believe is love. I believe that money is just another is what we use in the 3D in terms of exchange. Then and it comes down to worthiness and all those things. Then there's also the ability to hold that big energy. It feels in your body like a lot because we spent so long kind of shut down, armored, protected, limited, small, powerless, whatever it is. So the practice to be in expansion and to be able to hold that big energy and to be in flow and to create the abundant possibility that we desire, then we have to do that work, and we have to keep on practicing being in, because most of us will feel that feeling of collapse when we start to expand because it's just so unfamiliar. I talk from experience. When I'm in that expansion, it's like, whoa, this feels too much. And then it's like, I need to go and be in my familiar. But each time I can allow that expansion to happen a bit more. The point being is that that might very well be going on the outside, but I do honestly believe that nature wants to find remedy. And also this is a benevolent consciousness. It wants that expansion. It wants the best for it. It wants it to work out for us. And we have to be mindful that what is going on the outside, that they don't lose that limitation and trauma and that lack, and use it as a way of continuing the suffering or survival. So I just presence that.
Thank you. I just want to pick up a few comments in the section there. Alvar says to repurpose the military industrial complex for the benefit of the good as opposed to their ongoing detriment, not a drop of blood spilled, nary a tear shed. Infrastructure remains intact. Rejoice. Yeah, I mean, so like I do feel like I used to believe in the education system because I thought that it was doing its best for the betterment of mankind. So if it were really doing that, then I would be like, okay, well, I mean, not this quite the system that they've got now, which is becoming so draconian. Parents are getting penalized if their child is out of school for more than a week in the year or whatever. They're like fining people. Oh, and if you don't fine, we'll come and clamp your child. You'll find a clamp on your child and try and get another school. Sorry, your child's being clamped until you pay £1,000 fine for them being away from school. You've traumatized the child so much they'll never want to go back, but they'll probably have, so repurposing, and yes, to turn the weapons to plows and shears and stuff like that. So that's that. And I think, my friend, that's what I would love to see, but we live amongst gangsters, we live amongst the mob in a way, and it would be like, it just feels to me too fanciful to just open the gates of Shawshank prison and just let everybody out and go, okay, you're free now, off you run, do whatever you want.
But in saying that, we are seeing, I see, because I'm in that world, people who are making different choices when it comes to their children's learning. There's some incredible things happening,
Yeah.
And so I think we again need to be mindful that we don't need it all to come down. This is a slow.
Too much water on the fire there, but at the same time as there being amazing, the same time as there being amazing things that individual parents or mothers and fathers are doing to extricate their children from their military industrial junior complex. I see more legislation tightening in more regions to do with, including England, to do with how it works, when you educate your child at home, and what license and what limitations and what strictures you need to follow based on government guidance and so on. So it feels to me like it's fine, it's all good. There needs to be this sort of upwelling of people squeezing out of the side of the control system and going on and doing their own thing. But we do that with the recognition that there has to be a system. There has to be a prison at the moment. Andy Dufresne can smash his way through the shit pipe and climb to freedom. That's the odd one of us. But the majority, it's not feasible to open the prison in this journey at this time.
The level of codependency on the system is, well, it's just off the chart. And so it would not make any sense for that to happen. But
we drove past the zoo today, and we were thinking about that, because we, like debating whether zoos are, rotten or good, or how you can justify them. But I was like, my overarching point was, but mankind is in a zoo. We are kept in prisons called countries. We are given a few days out of the country if we've been good and we've got to save enough of our credits, and we can go away for a week or two. We're allowed that, and that's probably going to get more and more carbon tax limitations and blah 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 blah. So that's all we got. All that we got, like the supermarket system. Someone was saying earlier on, we should be growing our own food. Absolutely, and the more you can grow your own food and barter and trade, the better, and the less you're reliant. But you're in the minority. The majority of us
Doesn't matter.
are going to run around like headless chickens.
But then
they switch off the tap at the supermarket.
But then you also get, who was the other guy
Like the
that
people in
left the prison and he couldn't handle
Brooks,
Brooks? And
the
he
old
said
man.
that about the animals in the zoo. I heard a story about in South Africa where a certain area where they normally do great white shark diving, that for 7 years there've been no sign of the great white, and that's because they believe there's two orcas that have come into the bay who were in captivity, and they don't know how to hunt or what to hunt, so they're hunting the great white, and it's had, not only has it depleted the great white, what would you call them, school or whatever. I don't know what is a group of great white.
Population or
And also they've just left the area. So I think that unfortunately we're not at that point where but you do go back to the school bit. I've seen a T-shirt that says I don't co-parent with the government, and I think this comes back to that same thing, it is like it's more about choice, because it's not about not having them in education, and it can't be for everyone. Everyone can't.
No, realistically, raising a child without the village or the state is hard work. Actually,
takes a lot of our
it takes an
time.
awful lot of time. So and that's why that in the village, there's the older children looking after the younger children. There's the aunties that are looking after the very young children, or you know what I mean, and the grandmas are knitting and making some food and blah 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 and giving them lessons. So the way that the system is set up at the moment, it's not feasible for everybody to jump off the ship and do like we've done in these last few years to try and raise our child ourselves. It's not feasible. And so this is not like saying that we're a bad parent for having raised our children through the education military industrial complex, or that anybody else who has their child in that system is somehow failing their child. It's not to say that at all. I don't think that at all.
I have way more faith in people's blueprints or journeys here. We were talking to Nathan, our friend, in Vietnam yesterday, and when you look at your natal chart and you see all the aspects that are there, you're born with them. You've come to have those lessons. You've come to have those opportunities to expand. And so for me, it's like, none of it is necessarily wrong. It's maybe meant.
Yeah. Nathan had said, Squirrel Sniper had said, Alva Billy, what was the final scene of They Live? I have to admit, I can't remember what that was. Was it the TV station crumbling in, or they walking off into walking away from the city into nature? Maybe you can tell us, Nathan. Hippie Shake has a good approach, which is to not focus on negative. Something worrying me, I move away and focus on positive things. Seem to work fine. Obviously we don't want to bypass, but we.
Yeah, I mean that's the only thing I'd say about that, is that we can try and change our thoughts, but actually there is a whole somatic thing going on.
But that can become an affliction in itself, so it can cut both ways there.
Well, that's when you get curious, like what is actually going on. I mean, I know that there is something that I am working with, and that's that feeling of disappointment, and that can be a negative thing. But I can't like go, oh well, you just need to be happy about and not disappointed. I need to be curious about where does that feeling of disappointment come from, You know, where does it originate from? It's not for me, it's not just like I'm just constantly disappointed in life. No, there is something that happened that I decided that life is going to disappoint me, and or I am a disappointment, and that's then what I experience. That's the lens or how I distinguish life. It's going to disappoint me. I'm going to arrive at something, and it's going to be disappointing. So, for me, there's the curiosity. I think you're right. It's good to be positive, but at the same time, you can't just go, oh, well, I'll just correct. And
Well,
in fact, Alex Zek does his podcast on the way forward. He interviews a woman recently, and he asks exactly that question. And the way she put it was beautiful. She said, with the masculine, who is more about action orientated and presence, that sort of getting on with it kind of is, whereas for the feminine, to be in surrender and actually to go into the moment is what's needed. And so that's when you're thinking something negative, is like, can I be curious why that is there? There's probably a root.
And I think, if I may, Hippie, I think also, like, I mean, what I wanted to say was, when I was trying to interrupt Andrea, was to say that when someone says to us, why does it matter the shape of the earth? We do have reasons why it really matters, understanding that deception. And so, and I think what we see people do often is to bypass that, because it really upsets. Same with the last 5 years, the Novid Jovid business. People, it really upsets their place in the world, their relationship with the authority in the world, and so on.
Or their need to be right as safety.
Yeah.
When we, a lot of us carry a I am wrong or wrongness, and the system here plays with that, and religion, there's a whole thing about, if you're wrong, you're going to go to hell or you're going to be punished. And so, as a way of surviving that, we have to be right. And so, to be able to say that what I believe was wrong means I was wrong, and it goes against our ego's survival to be in that wrongness, because that wrongness means punishment, rejection, abandonment, whatever it is for you, and with all the entanglement. So I will hold on to being right with till
all my might.
With all my might, yeah, till death, really. So that's why it's really difficult to say that I was wrong about something.
But I guess I wanted to finish my point by saying that, like, I can still, although I don't watch news, I can't say I never watch anything at all on sort of, a feed that might relate to world news, an event, a thing, of course. But I can watch these things more like the observer of a sporting event for a sport that I don't even have any interest in. I don't even understand the rules. I've just arrived in America, and it's my first time watching a baseball or a football game. And, I have no vested interest in it, but I can see how people are getting really upset on one side and really excited on the other side.
To be fair, you've had to go through a real journey of feeling the rage, of feeling the grief, of feeling the frustration.
But I want to know. I guess I kind of like, I to pick these little bits of insight and stuff to go, okay, well, all of this is telling me a certain story, a picture is building of something. And then from that, I try to, which is why I had, after just a few years of deep research, back in February 14th, 2016, said, there is something massive, massive coming. All of the indicators are that there's something massive coming, and that something massive is still coming in the world. And that's
What's really interesting when Dave talks is that I know that aspect of Dave where he likes to collect his attention to detail, and he likes to put all the pieces of the puzzle together are is where his Virgo placement is. And it's so interesting and on point to hear him vocalize that.
Yes, the powers that shouldn't be have entrenched interests. It's like it has to be. It has to be. It's like the greedy kids in the playground, like stole all the sweets. They've been selling them off, and they're just blah blah blah. Eventually, the kind of the thing has to go full circle, and it all kind of works out. And I believe that idea more because of like Tartaria's existence, because of the ancient amazing stuff that exists. I think that comes because of an upgrade in the abilities and of the culture and society. But that's not where we're at right now. We're in a lower position than that, a darker age than that, and whatever has to come has to come, even if it's just that these bad boys eventually have to get cleansed from the playground. That's what have to come. Thanks, Hippie Shake, for putting my PayPal. We did get a
We got
buy me a coffee
yeah, the
last
3
time.
coffees
Yeah.
from
Wasn't Gaining Wisdom was it? No.
I'm sorry, we'll go and have a look.
It should I
Very,
feel
very
really bad
fuzzy
that-
head.
Yeah. We have moved house this week, so you might have noticed we're in a slightly different setting, and so just I'm losing my thread there a moment because I'm seeing my other thing. So we do want to have people come and chat. It's not like we want to always do it as just the two of us. So I know.
Yeah, reach out if
Yeah.
you want to um,
Join in for a
join
while,
in
half
for a
an hour.
while and just come and give your thoughts, or come and ask us some questions, or share something. I think the whole idea behind We Gather is so that there's a place that we can come to that we can feel like we can just bring ourselves. Someone expressed to me a while back what community means, and when I can sit opposite someone in full acceptance. And I think if you can have a place where you can come to where there is full acceptance, then that's and this that can be the space. I mean, it doesn't have to be the space, but so if you want to come and chat,
I do apologize for the audio. Has been a
people
bit
been
crap.
saying- Yeah, we'll sort it out. Well, it's supposed to be better, but we haven't really been able to get used to the new tech. So we will sort it out.
Red Herring Media thinks we need to operate in a more tightly knit community. I love that. I mean, I'm for, a tighter community. Obviously, we don't all necessarily feel the same way about everything and agree on every element of things, but
Can I say something about community? And the word community is unity or union. And until we come into our own inner union and community, then we from our experience, we found the communities really, and the flat earth is evidence of that recently. So for me, it is about that self-responsibility, and that how am I going to show up, and therefore I have to be that first. it's the same in relationship. You know, we can all go, oh, my partner's not this and my partner's not that. Well, can we ask ourselves, are we that? Are we already that? Instead of what the other is not. So I think close-knit community is good, but I think it requires us to do the work.
Yeah. Yeah. No matter what they do, the flip-flopping was probably designed to really upset and distract and get people arguing amongst each other and blah blah blah, you know? I mean, there's surely not a one flat earther who ever got into, didn't, you know, getting rid of the globe belief because of the sun being 24-hour sun either in the Antarctic or, and you know, I remember back in the early days we weren't even 100% sure that there was a 24-hour sun up north, and then Daryl went to see it, and so it was never really like, it was never the thing. But so this has been designed, and we are not going to give it too much kind of airtime, but it does offer the opportunity for us to revisit how we relate to one another, and you know, I don't know.
Well, discernment and you know, if those things if those things, yeah.
You know,
Well, let's be honest. Let's be honest, the truth community, one of the biggest wounds is betrayal. So, you know, like that is a big piece of deep.
So but for me, like honestly, this is what I think of it. I think of it as part of the fun in terms of, wow, this is an interesting and almost fun. It doesn't mean anything in terms of the way the deceptions, everything that we've been learning about the way that the world is organized and controlled and so on doesn't change because a few characters saw a sun in, you know, 24-hour sun, assuming it was a 24-hour sun. I'm happy to go with that, but if it wasn't,
No, like I said last week, I think to Dave Weiss, it's actually exciting because it opens up possibilities of what it could be. It's not, you know, we've said this a few times now. What when you go from the globe to saying this is what the next map is, you're going from one fixed to another fixed, and I think it's way more. There's way more possibility. So I think that it's exciting. It's exciting. It opens up the possibility for it to be a whole lot of things.
I must go to the garden center. I'm in need of clippers. Well, have a blessed day. Love your live chats. Thanks, baby. Angela, baby.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
And we are not far from saying goodbye anyway because, well, we don't want to make it too long. People don't have that much time to, and you know, if we had a guest and we were running longer and what have you, then that would be fine. But lovely room, great vibe for chat. Well, we'll be here for another month. So it looks like a nice house. Yeah, it's a nice house, and you know, not as well developed or is the last one, and not as quiet as the last one. But there's pros and cons. And you know, we're in a different area, and we're gonna
get to explore.
I'm gonna go and have a walk around Chester and do a video offline and put it on for you guys to enjoy. There's so much mud flood in Chester. In fact, if anyone happens to see this and they're in the Chester area and they want to meet up with me, then hit me up. And 300 see lightning 300 miles is talking about seeing lightning bolts at 300 miles, which is awesome. You can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com, and if you want to, and we will do this on next Friday as well. And
can I just say that we're in a like I said at the very beginning, for those who weren't here, we're in this 2-week window, eclipse window. We've just had a lunar eclipse in Virgo, and then we have a solar eclipse in Aries on the 29th, which will be a new moon. So these 2 weeks, it's going to feel funky. You know, things are going to come up. It can feel a little intense, and just take care of yourself. Lean in and feel. Um, yeah, stay grounded. And when the new moon comes on the 29th, it should feel a lot easier. But we have got into a Mercury retrograde tonight as well for 3 weeks. So
Respect to Hippie Shake, who says online is my community, as I have 3 special need adult sons with autism and epilepsy and learning difficulties. It is hard for me to have a social life. I'm glad I found this community.
yeah,
Sure,
we're glad to have you here,
yeah,
Hippie.
and I'm sure your boys are very fortunate to have had you to care for them. So, oh, there's a flat Earth meeting in Chester. I think it's still going. Oh, no one's allowed. Won't you send me if you have that information? Trinity for man. You probably have my number in that. Funky Tower moments at the moment. Yeah, all around. Um, yeah, it's I think it's crazy portal right now and energy wires and so on, and we're just gonna try and keep our heads low for the next
Yeah,
few
just go
days.
with it. Don't fight it. Just go with it.
Um, and yeah, if anyone wants a reading from Andrea, get in touch. The links that Hippie Shake, and Hippie Shake is my hero, and she loves this community. Thank you, Trinity. Yeah. Okay, well, I appreciate that gaining wisdom, and we will endeavor for the weeks ahead to continue to do this on a Friday. Um, as I said, and I don't want to make a big deal of it, but if you want to come and have a chat, even if it's just 10 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever, hit us up for a link. Let me know in advance that you want to, if you like, or you can let me know on the night. It doesn't matter. It'd be nice to give people a little platform to come and have a chat, share some ideas or whatever. And then we'll just see how this grows organically. Okay.
Sending lots of love.
Lots of love and peace and good
Take
wishes to
care.
you all. Thank you very much for stopping by.